Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are opening up a file that I think is, well, it's going to surprise a lot of people.
Oh, definitely. I think it really will.
Because, when you and I, and really when anyone looks back at classic television, specifically sitcoms, we tend to view them as these static things.
Right, like they just existed in this vacuum of success.
Exactly. Like they were great, they were funny, and they just sort of existed. But today, we are looking at a specific season of television that was basically a high-wire act without a net.
Yeah.
We are talking about Cheers, Season 4, broadcast from 1985 to 1986.
It is, without a doubt, the most pivotal season in the show's entire 11-year run.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of television, there are very few shows that face the kind of, I guess you'd call them existential threats that Cheers faced going into this season.
Right. And they come out not just surviving, but actually becoming a ratings juggernaut.
Exactly. It's the season where the show really grew up.
I mean, look at the stakes here. We're talking about a show that had critical acclaim, sure, but it wasn't exactly a ratings monster yet.
Nowhere near it.
And then tragedy strikes. They lose a beloved main cast member. They have to introduce a new character who is basically an unknown.
A total unknown.
Right, and they have to figure out what to do with Kelsey Grammer, whose character was supposed to be long gone by now.
Yeah, his arc was technically over.
And somehow, in the middle of all this chaos, they produce what some critics called the funniest season yet. So our mission today for everyone listening is to really explore how Cheers pulled off this magic trick.
It really was magic.
How did they survive the death of Coach, integrate a future movie star in Woody Harrelson, and cement their place in the must-see TV era?
It is a study in resilience and creative pivoting. We have a huge stack of sources here to go through.
We really do.
We're looking at production notes, deeply detailed episode summaries, cast lists, and some really fascinating contemporary reception data, like the Nielsen ratings and awards from that time.
Yeah, pulling all that together gives such a clear picture.
And the narrative arc we're going to trace from these sources is just fascinating. It's not just about jokes. It's about how a sitcom handles genuine loss and evolves its ensemble.
We are going to look at the aftermath of Sam and Diane's disastrous trip to Italy, the arrival of Woody Boyd, and the absolute deconstruction and reconstruction of Frasier Crane.
So much to unpack there.
So let's jump right into the deep end, the production pivot. You simply cannot talk about Season 4 without talking about the massive hole in the cast.
No, you can't.
Nicholas Colasanto, who played Coach Ernie Pantuso.
That's right. Colasanto had passed away from a heart attack during the filming of the previous season.
Yeah.
And this presented the creators, so that's the Charles brothers and James Burrows, with a nearly impossible choice. Because Coach wasn't just a character, he was the heart of the bar.
Absolutely. He was the father figure to Sam.
The confidant to Diane.
Yeah.
He was the grounding wire for the whole show.
And the production decision they made is really interesting based on the notes we have. And honestly, it was pretty brave for 1985. They decided not to recast him.
No, and that was a crucial decision. They realized that the audience's connection was to Colasanto as much as it was to the character of Coach.
You couldn't just swap him out.
Right. Putting another actor in that role, doing the old Darren Stevens switcheroo from Bewitched, it would have shattered the illusion.
That would have felt so cheap.
Exactly. So in the season premiere, which is titled Birth, Death, Love, and Rice, they address it head on. They reveal that Coach has died.
And here's what really stands out to me in the episode summaries. They don't explain how.
Exactly. It's a very respectful, very human choice.
Yeah.
In the dialogue, there's no melodramatic explanation of a medical event or a car crash or anything like that.
Right.
It's just the acknowledgement of the loss.
The characters are just mourning a friend.
It grounded the show in a reality that most sitcoms completely avoid. It gave the season premiere a weight that anchored everything that followed. You see Sam Malone, who is usually this completely unflappable guy, clearly dealing with a massive void in his life.
But you can't have a bar without a bartender.
Right.
And you can't have Cheers without that specific dynamic of the dumb guy behind the bar.
Right, the comedic engine.
So enter Woody Boyd.
Enter Woody Boyd. And just think about the risk here. They are replacing a beloved, senile, fatherly figure. And who do they bring in? A complete unknown. Woody Harrelson.
This was his television debut.
His absolute debut.
The production sources mention he was an understudy in a Broadway play, Biloxi Blues.
Yep.
And he had done a movie called Wildcats that hadn't even come out yet when the season started, so nobody knew who this guy was.
Nobody.
He was a blank slate to the audience at home.
He was a ghost. And the way they introduced the character was brilliant in its simplicity. They connected him directly to Coach to bridge that emotional gap for you as the viewer.
Which was so smart.
Woody Boyd arrives in Boston as a pen pal of Coach.
Which is such a Coach thing to have, a pen pal he's never actually met.
Precisely. It immediately tells you that this kid operates on the exact same wavelength as Coach did.
Yeah.
Woody is this naive farm boy from Hanover, Indiana, or at least small-town Indiana, as the source notes vary slightly on the specific town name in the dialogue, but the essence is strictly the rural Midwest.
Right. He's a country boy.
He comes expecting to finally meet his friend, only to learn Coach has passed away. And Sam, seeing a bit of Coach's spirit in the kid, offers him the job right there.
I love the insight we can pull from the production notes regarding the comedy mechanics here.
Oh, it's fascinating.
It's a similar dynamic, dim-witted but lovable, but the energy is totally different.
Completely.
Coach was slow because he was old and, as they joked, had taken too many fastballs to the head. Woody is slow because he's just innocent. He's incredibly literal.
It's the difference between senility and naivety.
Yeah.
And that freshness completely revitalized the bar.
Yeah.
It allowed the other characters to react to him differently.
Right, the dynamic shifted.
Sam has to be more of a big brother or a mentor to Woody, whereas he was more of a surrogate son to Coach.
Yeah, that's a huge shift for Sam's character.
It shifted the power dynamics in a way that opened up entirely new joke avenues. Woody brought this golden retriever energy. He's just happy to be there, whereas everyone else in the bar is pretty miserable or cynical.
Although looking at the contemporary reception data, it is worth noting that critics mentioned that the character wasn't always well integrated immediately.
No, it took a minute.
It took a few episodes for the writers to really nail Woody's voice.
It did. You can see in those early episode summaries that they're still figuring out if he's just Coach Jr. or if he's his own thing.
Right.
But episodes like Woody Goes Belly Up really helped solidify him as a distinct entity. He wasn't just dumb. He had this weird, dark, rural backstory that would leak out occasionally in the dialogue.
Speaking of shifting dynamics, let's talk about the character who I think undergoes the most radical change this entire season. Frasier Crane.
Oh, absolutely, Frasier. If Woody was the replacement, Frasier was the happy accident.
Yeah.
You have to remember, if you're looking at the cast list from earlier, Frasier was brought in during season 3, essentially just to be a roadblock between Sam and Diane.
He was the wrong guy.
Exactly. Usually in sitcom logic, once the wedding is called off, that character just disappears.
Right. They go back to their home planet and are never spoken of again.
But Kelsey Grammer stuck around.
He did. He is listed as a recurring guest star in the credits for most of the season.
Though the remastered prints of Cliffy's big score actually show him in the opening credits, officially he isn't there until season 5.
Good catch.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just too good to let go. And in season 4, we see the writers figuring out, okay, if he's staying, who is he?
Right.
And the answer they came up with is dark. Hilariously dark.
The jilted arc.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about kicking a man when he's down.
It is brutal. We learned from the premiere summary that Sam went to Italy to stop the wedding, but failed. But then, the twist. Diane jilted Frasier at the altar.
And the consequences for Frasier are catastrophic. The sources detail that he loses his dignity, his teaching tenure, and his entire practice in Italy.
He comes back to Boston essentially a broken man.
Completely broken.
There's that specific episode, The Triangle, episode 15. This really feels like the turning point where Frasier goes from guest star to essential cast member.
It is the fulcrum of his character development.
Yeah.
In The Triangle, Frasier has deteriorated into full-blown alcoholism.
Yeah.
He has zero interest in psychiatry. He's basically just wallowing in the bar all day. So Sam and Diane, feeling guilty naturally, concoct this scheme.
Right.
Sam decides to feign symptoms, to pretend he's having a breakdown, just to boost Frasier's confidence.
Which is such a classic sitcom setup, the fake sick routine.
Right.
But the payoff here is totally different.
Because the payoff is psychological. Frasier, even in his drunken state, is actually a good psychiatrist.
Right. That's his core competence.
Exactly. He realizes it's a charade. He calls them out on it. But instead of just being angry, he has this moment of clarity. He declares himself out of their triangle. He tells them, point blank, you two are still in love, and he decides to go back to practicing.
And that's the moment, right? That's when he stops being a plot device for Sam and Diane and becomes Frasier Crane.
Exactly. He becomes an independent observer of the human condition, specifically the human condition of the people in that bar.
Yeah.
He becomes the Greek chorus, just with a lot more vocabulary and a huge bar tab. He stops being a victim, and starts being an active participant.
And we have to mention, this season plants the seed for the rest of his life. Episode 17, second time around.
Enter Lilith.
Enter Dr. Lilith Sternin, played by the incredible Bebe Neuwirth.
It's wild to think she only appears once in this entire season.
Just once. When you look at the cast lists, it's a single credit.
Frasier has a bad date with her. It's completely unsuccessful. They bicker. They're freezing cold to each other.
Yeah.
But the chemistry was so undeniable, the writing was so sharp, that even this single appearance set up a major future arc.
It's fascinating to see the comedy contrast immediately. Frasier rebounds from Lilith by dating Candy Pearson.
Played by Jennifer Tilly.
Right, who is the complete opposite of Lilith.
Oh, Candy with an I.
Exactly. Ditzy, fun, not intellectual at all, and he almost marries her.
Which just shows you how desperate he was to find some stability after Italy. But it's that one interaction with Lilith that really signaled where his future was going.
It showed that the show could sustain highbrow intellectual humor right alongside the bar slop.
Definitely.
Okay, let's unpack the engine that really drives the car, Sam and Diane. The eternal will they, won't they.
Season 4 had to hit the reset button hard. Season 3 ended with them apart. Season 4 starts with them miles apart, both physically and emotionally.
The premiere gives us the explanation for what happened in Italy, and honestly, reading the summary, it is one of the most absurd things the show ever did.
It really is.
Sam explains he was arrested and purchased by a landowner.
It's completely farcical. He was working on a farm, essentially as an indentured servant. Meanwhile, Diane is found in a convent, doing penance for a spree of decadence.
It's so dramatic.
It's over the top,
Yeah.
but it serves a narrative purpose. It strips them both of their pretenses. They both failed in Italy.
Yeah.
They both come back to the bar humble. Well, as humble as Sam and Diane can be, Sam gets her to leave the convent, she returns to work at Cheers, and the dance begins all over again.
But the dynamic feels different this season based on the episode plots. It's less about romantic longing and more about jealousy and competition. It feels spikier.
That's a great observation. It's a total power struggle now. They're both trying to prove to the other that they are over it.
Right.
You see this in episodes like Someday My Prince Will Come, where Diane dates a cultured man named Stuart, who turns out to be really unattractive.
And she's just relieved when he dumps her.
Exactly. Or The Bar Stoolie, where Sam dates Claudia, this very classy woman.
And Claudia dumps Sam for being too aggressive.
Right. And then in a great twist, she befriends Diane. It's this constant game of one-upmanship. Diane wants to prove she's evolved, and Sam wants to prove he's happy.
I love that shift in power. And then there is Don Juan as Hell, where Diane actually writes a term paper on Sam.
A brutal takedown.
Yeah.
She describes him in the paper as a pathetic, aging sexist.
Wow.
It's an academic dissection of his entire lifestyle. And Sam, being Sam, initially thinks it's a huge compliment until he actually hears it read aloud.
Of course he does.
This constant push and pull, Sam trying to prove he's happy, Diane trying to prove she's intellectually superior, it drives the comedy for the bulk of the season.
It's almost like they are siblings fighting rather than lovers courting for a lot of these episodes.
Until we get to the finale arc. The Strange Bedfellows trilogy, this is where things get really serious again.
This is the first time we see a truly formidable rival for Diane. Janet Eldridge, played by Kate Mulgrew.
Yes.
She's a city councilor running for re-election. She's smart, she's powerful, she's successful.
She is everything Diane thinks she is. But Janet actually has the real-world career to back it up.
And the conflict is so sharp. Diane accuses Janet of using Sam for votes.
Right.
And Janet admits she actually likes him. Janet wins the election, and suddenly Sam is dating a winner.
Yeah, and this leads to the ultimatum. Janet sees the dynamic clearly. She's not blind to what's going on in that bar.
Yeah.
She tells Sam, fire Diane.
Yeah.
She knows that as long as Diane is working there, she's the third wheel in her own relationship.
But Diane resigns before Sam can even do it, and the scene at the press conference that follows, it's iconic slapstick.
It really is.
Diane humiliates Sam with a squirt gun.
Squirt gun. He gets his tie stuck in a door. It's physical comedy manifesting the emotional mess they are in.
Yeah.
But the result is genuine heartbreak. Janet dumps Sam. Not because of the squirt gun incident, but because she realizes he is still entirely obsessed with Diane. She realizes that Sam actually liked the drama.
And that leads to the cliffhanger. The season ends with Sam on the phone. He calls someone, he proposes marriage, but we don't know who.
And the audience went wild. There was a telephone survey at the time, which is just a great piece of historical data.
Yeah, the contemporary reception notes have that.
140 callers guessed he proposed to Diane, and 60 guessed Janet.
That's a huge margin for Diane.
It was a massive water cooler moment for the culture. It kept the audience completely hooked all summer long. It was a master class in serialized storytelling before that was really the norm for network sitcoms.
I want to zoom out a bit to the rest of the ensemble. Because while Sam and Diane are doing their incredibly complicated dance, the rest of the bar is really fleshing out.
Absolutely. You have Cliff Clavin. We get a real look into his background in the bar stoolie. We meet his estranged father, played by Dick O'Neill.
Right.
And true to Cliff's miserable luck, his dad turns out to be a total fraudster who runs out on him again.
Poor Cliff. He just wants to be respected by someone. And he's also trying to break world records this season. Walking backwards.
Yes, and I will gladly pay you Tuesday. He's walking backwards to break a record and ends up backing into his mother's curling iron.
That is just perfect.
It's that blend of bizarre ambition and total incompetence that makes Cliff work so well. And we also see his pathetic romantic life highlighted in Cliffy's big score, where it tries to score with Diane.
He practically tries to bribe his way into a date with her.
He really does.
Yeah.
But then he ends up stranded. It deepens his character from just being the annoying fact guy at the end of the bar to a lonely guy who invents a world where he matters.
Then there's Carla Tortelli. She's dealing with a lot this season based on the summaries.
She is. She gives birth to Ledlow, named after Frasier's mentor, which is a really nice nod.
Yeah.
But she also deals with her son Anthony marrying incredibly young in the Groom-Moore Clearasil. It shows the generational cycle of the Tortelli family drama.
Right.
The key moment for Carla's growth, I think, is in Save the Last Dance for Me.
The Nick Tortelli saga.
Right. Her sleazy ex-husband Nick, played by Dan Hedaya, comes back.
Yeah.
He wants her to help him cheat on his new wife, Loretta. And Carla outright refuses. It's a small moment, but it shows significant moral growth. She hates Loretta, but she won't be the other woman. She has a code.
It makes Carla more than just a mean spirit. She has real integrity.
Exactly.
And we can't forget Norm Peterson. We almost see Vera.
So close. In The Peterson Principle, he's hiding a coworker's affair to save his own dignity. Norm is often the moral center of the show in his own quiet, beer-drinking way.
Right. And then there's the neighbor drama in Love Thy Neighbor.
Yes, Norm and a neighbor suspect their spouses of having an affair, which of course is proven completely false.
But the real lore-building moment for the ensemble this season has to be From Beer to Eternity.
Oh, the birth of Bar Wars.
Yes, the bowling competition against Gary's Old Town Tavern.
This establishes the long-running rivalry that fuels so many future episodes, and it gives us a great Woody moment. He refuses to bowl due to a past maiming accident back in Indiana.
Which is just fantastic backstory. The pins, they were everywhere.
Exactly. And then Diane has to step in as the ringer. It unites the entire bar against a common enemy. It solidifies that us against the world mentality of the Cheers gang.
I want to take a second to highlight a few of the standalone episodes because there are some genuinely weird ones in season 4. Like, Fear is my co-pilot.
Oh, that is a fascinating anomaly in the run. Diane travels with a guy named Jack Dalton, played by Joseph Whipp, on a small plane, and the pilot dies at 20,000 feet.
It turns into this crazy disaster movie spoof.
But the twist at the end...
She wasn't dead.
Right, he was just practicing Tibetan meditation. It's totally absurd, but it won an Emmy for outstanding sound mixing.
That's wild.
It shows the writers were willing to break the standard bottle episode format of the bar and go really high concept.
And then there's Diane's Nightmare.
A full dream sequence episode. We see Andy Schroeder, the ex-con, return.
Yeah.
But the highlight of the summary is Sam appearing as Diane's upper-class ideal. He's blowing soap bubbles from a pipe.
That is hilarious.
It's a glimpse into Diane's subconscious fantasy that she can somehow fix Sam and turn him into a proper gentleman.
And another great standalone is I Will Gladly Pay You Tuesday, the Hemingway book.
Such a classic sitcom premise. Diane buys a first edition of The Sun Also Rises.
Yeah.
And Sam completely ruins it by dropping it in the bathtub. It's simple, it's physical, and it's totally character-driven.
Right. It plays on Sam's total carelessness and Diane's extreme reverence for literature.
The perfect distillation of their core conflict without needing a massive multi-episode plot arc.
So we've got all this incredible content. Let's look at the cultural context, the must-see TV landscape.
This is crucial for understanding why Season 4 matters so much. In 1985, NBC creates this monster lineup on Thursday nights.
The golden era.
You had The Cosby Show at 8:00, then Family Ties, then Cheers at 9:00, followed by Night Court and Hill Street Blues.
That is just an insane lineup of television. You just didn't change the channel all night.
It's the absolute murderer's row of TV. And Cheers benefited massively from that flow. The ratings boom they experienced was significant.
Yeah, the Nielsen data says they gained 33% in ratings from the previous season.
They became a top 5 show. They had a 23.7 rating and a 35 share.
And they were top 3 among female viewers.
Which is really interesting given how much of the Sam and Diane dynamic is based on, toxic gender politics at times.
Right.
But it proves that the show wasn't just viewed as a guy's bar show. It had incredibly broad appeal. It was airing, again, Simon and Simon on CBS and the Colbys on ABC, and it was just destroying the competition.
And the critics absolutely noticed the shift. We have a note here that Rick Sherwood called it the funniest and most intelligent since the debut.
Though, to be totally fair to all viewpoints in the reception data, looking back, some modern reviews, like from DVD Talk, find it a bit episodic compared to the serialized nature of what we expect from modern TV.
Sure, standards change.
And the Coach critique was very real at the time. Some critics felt the unexplained nature of his death in the script was a low point or a missed opportunity for narrative closure.
That makes sense from a traditional writing standpoint.
But overall, the accolades really speak for themselves. Rhea Perlman won an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress. Shelley Long won a Golden Globe for Best Actress.
And practically everyone was nominated, right?
Yeah, all the cast members except Harrelson and Grammer were nominated for Emmys that year.
So what does this all mean for you listening when we look at season 4 as a whole complete package?
I think it means that Cheers proved it was indestructible. It proved that the core concept of the bar was stronger than any single cast member.
Yeah.
It proved that they could pivot under extreme pressure. If they hadn't nailed the Woody transition so perfectly, or if they had botched the Frasier integration and let Kelsey Grammer go, the show likely would have just fizzled out.
But instead, they built the foundation for another 7 seasons of dominance.
Exactly. It really is the season where the ensemble solidified into its final legendary form. Frasier found his distinct voice. Woody found his place behind the bar.
And the bar just kept serving.
And it leaves us with a final provocative thought to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
Consider the alternate reality for a second. If the showrunners had taken the easy route and just recast Coach instead of creating Woody,
Oh, wow.
or if Frasier had remained a short-term guest star and just vanished after Italy, would Cheers have survived all the way to season 11?
Probably not.
And would it have spawned Frasier, one of the most successful spin-offs in television history? Season 4 proves that sometimes the biggest obstacles, like tragic cast deaths or seemingly dead-end plot corners, they force the creative pivots that actually lead to true longevity.
That is a fascinating what-if to think about. It's amazing to think how different television history would be right now if they had made the safe choice instead of the bold one back in 1985. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Cheers Season 4. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show or you're just curious about television history, I hope this gave you a brand new appreciation for what really went down at the place where everybody knows your name. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.